fellow human becomers. Fellow human becomers. And I apologize for my voice somehow catching my voice cold. I'm really not blaming her. And my name is Barry Zwicker. I'm your moderator this evening. Our speaker, as you know, is Ken O Keefe. And if he's right, and we hope he's right, not only will us human becomings continue to become, but the whole of the global society maybe could make some advances, could become a little safer and a little saner. And that's what Ken's all about. So we, about 6 of us who agreed to organize the Toronto part of his tour, and it's the last city of, well, it was supposed to be 16, and I think it was something like that. That we've all been energized by what Ken's been saying and what he stands for, and the better future that he really represents. Now, I want to publicly thank, and it's just very brief to do, and I'd like you to put up your hands, publicly thank the members of our working group, and I'll just use the first names, and when you put up your hands, they're here to help you if you need any help. There's my co-chair, Chris, who's walking up the aisle. He is a man of many talents. He's off to China in a couple of weeks. And there's Dorothy. Maybe she's out. There's Dwayne and his little daughter Emma. Are you guys here? Yeah. And there's Rick, from whom you'll hear a little bit more later. One of our working group, and some of you may know her, Karen Brothers, couldn't be here because she had to go to Britain on family affairs. So I know you're all anxious to get to the great event of hearing from Ken, but it's my duty to delay your gratification a little bit in a quartet, small quartet of good causes, and none of this time comes out of Ken's time, rest assured. It's planned that he will speak for an hour, and he wants a 15-minute note, because 15 minutes from an hour, he has certain things he wants to be sure to say, and then Rick will speak shortly, and we're going to pass a couple of buckets. I know you donated coming in, but you might want to give more, or some people who didn't donate want to give for the first time. Certainly it's a great cause. And then the Q&A will take place and be at least 45 minutes. There'll be a couple of mics, and I hope everyone would have a chance to ask a question. We're asking for 2 minutes, roughly, not to exceed. And there'll be lots of time. And I do want to say a bit about last night's event at Samouni on Martin Street. And how many of you knew there was an event last night? Yeah, almost everybody, of course. Well, oh, by the way, was anybody who was there last night here again tonight? Yeah. Okay, you see those hands? That is some reinforcement of how Ken is worthwhile. But of course they know he's like snowflakes. He never does the same thing twice. And so people who are returning aren't just going to get a repeat of last night. But I must say, we're so full of happiness about last night that Bates-Atune was completely packed, and people were standing, and they had to bring in cushions so people could, around the front, they could lie on the cushions and so on. And Robert, who founded Bates-Atune in 2003, and he's had 1,000 events there, more than 1,000 events since 2003. And I asked Robert, I said, how did this one stack up against other events here? He said, you're in the top 20. So we felt pretty good about that. And of course, Ken was the star in the sky that was shining down on us. Now, I just noticed also last night that we had a number of people from from outside the GTA. And we had people from Montreal, and people from Ottawa, from London, from Windsor. I think somebody was from North Bay, and Hamilton for sure. So could I just ask, rather than going city by city, how many people here are from a city outside of the GTA? Look at that! Is anybody counting? That is really something. Again, sorry for my voice, I'll just apologize one more time. Of course, we're so happy, those of us who did work hard organizing this, are so happy with every person here, but I guess the people from out of town, they have to get a little extra thank you, for sure. And now, I don't know if Ken's around. Right? Are you within some, Ken, you're there. But you didn't raise your hand as being from out of town. So if you're trying to go incognito, it ain't working. But I'm glad Ken's here. Next and finally, before things get serious,
Okay.
I'd like to conduct a survey, and we'll need counters, as we did last night. This helps us, for those of us who are going to be doing future events, is to find out how you found out about this particular meeting. And I've narrowed it down to maybe 5 categories. And I'm going to ask for hands up and hold them for a while so Chris can count. And you can put up your hand for more than one, because we know sometimes you hear something by word of mouth, and you also see it in the paper, so your hand can go up twice. But these are, but if there's one that fits more than the others, please put up your hand. First of all, word of mouth. How many people hear it? And just keep your hands up for a while. Chris is going to do a count.
This is great.
That's darn important, that word of mouth. Are you going to be able to remember these numbers?
I'm going to punch it into my phone right now.
Okay. He's a digital dog. Second, from the internet in any form, Facebook, e-blast, or whatever. So that's a lot. I can help out.
Yeah, you count that side. I got about halfway through here, so.
I've got about 30 up to
Yeah,
the
and that's what I did too.
That is good. That is good. Third, there was a display ad in Now Magazine a week yesterday. How many people saw that and helped bring them here?
I got it.
Yeah. And what it is? Flyers. Flyers. Thank you. Posters.
Luke Rudowski!
Posters and flyers.
Luke
There's
gets
another
his
half dozen there.
my buddy Luke.
Okay, so I think that probably judging you as an audience, as I do, I'm an audience judge, that you know a lot about Ken, and you don't need a long, extended introduction to him. And he almost falls into the category now of the person who needs no introduction. And he has a tendency, if you watch his videos and everything, and with me anyway, that in the course of him passionately explaining what's important to him and what we should do about it, he introduces himself and he defines himself. So it would be surplus for me to try to do that. I do also hope that he will be sure to include some personal stories. He sometimes includes one important episode in his life, like on that ship going to Gaza, or what happened to him in the Marines, and sometimes he doesn't. But I do hope that you will catch more of the personal Ken. And I'm going to skip some stuff here, which I used in the introduction last night. And there's a lot here about the police. And we're skipping all that. There were protesters last night out in force, and there were something like 8 officers, a sergeant and 8 officers, but any threatened difficulties of a violent or physical nature were cooled off and nothing untoward happened. And I believe there are protesters tonight. So I don't need to go on about that. So it's going to be time for you, Rick, to come up here. And I'm going to give you this microphone. Yeah. And then your volunteer standing, right? We're really moving this along. Oh, so you do? Oh, boy. I skipped so much stuff that I skipped right ahead past Ken. Boy, I need to eat some brain food. So, yeah, it says Rick's pitch. It says Ken speaks and then Rick's pitch. So anyway, Ken, if you can come forward, it's so easy to follow me. It look good.
Actually up here on stage in the university. So thank you very much. How many people were at the event last night? Wow, thank you very, very much.
Why am I getting feedback?
Thank you. That was a fantastic, fantastic event. I want to re-thank everybody who was involved with that. Absolutely beautiful way to finish off this long tour. It started in San Diego about nearly a month and a half ago, almost 2 months ago. And it was, look, you know why I started this tour? It was not planned at all. How many of you are aware of the, fuck the TSA origins of this tour? Because I should have been back, okay, so most of you don't. Well, I should have been back in London by now. I was supposed to fly back in March. But when I was taking a flight from Los Angeles to Acapulco to attend the Acapulco conference, the TSA informed me that I would not have the option to opt out. I've always opted out. When I go to the airports in the States, it's a joke. I'm literally treated like a terror suspect. And I'll get into a little bit as to why that is the case. But the bottom line is I've always opted out of their radiation box, which, by the way, children and pregnant women are not allowed to go into, so that should tell you something. And why anybody would trust the government if they say it's safe, I just don't know. But aside from that, it also takes a perfect picture of your body, every last contour, so nice for the perverts who get to work with TSA, and that's a bonus for them. And so, you know, I told them I'll be opting out, and they said, no, you're going to have to go through it. So what are you talking about? You know, I'm not going into the radiation box, and they simply said, no, we've changed the rules. We don't operate under the Constitution anymore. We changed the unconstitutional rules again in December of last year. So we can dictate to you that you have to get into the radiation box. And so ultimately, I didn't get on the flight. They called the higher ups, and that was the order, and so on. So I always like to turn negatives into positives. Like, okay, fine. If you're not going to let me fly, then I'll just stick around and travel across the country and speak about this bullshit. Thank you very much to the TSA. I would have been here for today. And so, as Barry was saying, you know, I do actually like to talk about some of my personal experiences, and I've been talking about a lot of the same stuff my lady's been hearing across the country, and she's getting a little bit sick of it, so I'm going to try and vary it just slightly. But I kind of want to start off today with a story that is very deep and personal to me about the Samouni family, because, you know, a lot of why I do what I do comes from my personal experience with the Palestinian people, and I am truly honored and blessed to be a Palestinian, I mean, in real terms, a Palestinian. And a lot of people will, when I say that, think, what do you mean, come on, you're not Palestinian, but think about it. If somebody immigrated to Canada from China or Vietnam or whatever, you wouldn't say you're not Canadian, you're Chinese, or you would accept them as Canadians if they come to the country and naturalize. Well, the same thing has happened with me. I've been provided Palestinian citizenship. I've been presented a passport by the democratically elected government, the Prime Minister. In fact, I was even awarded the key to the city of Gaza by the democratically elected government and head of state, Prime Minister Ismail Haniyeh. I mean, I'm extremely honored and blessed to have this kind of experience. And ultimately, I think, the real reason why I have this need to express things that many can't express in terms of the taboos that we're not allowed to talk about is it comes from my relationship with the Palestinians and the stories that I've heard and the relationships that I've built. And one of them, and one of the most powerful ones for sure, is the Samouni family. How many of you are aware of the story of the Samouni family? Okay, so a few of you. Did you hear that from me or did you hear it from other sources? If you heard it from me, raise your hands. Okay. All right. So the Samouni family the story of the Samouni family is just devastating and heartbreaking to a degree that most can't even comprehend. The Samouni family live in an area called Zaytun, which means olive. It's also an agricultural area of Gaza. Most of Gaza is buildings. It's one of the most densely populated areas in the world. But in the middle of the Gaza Strip is an area called Zaytun, and this is where the Samouni family live, and they're farmers. So when the Israelis attack Gaza, as a general rule, they will take over this area of agricultural land, which effectively splits the Gaza Strip in two. So strategically, it's a very important tactical objective for them. So in 2008, 2009, Operation Cast Lead, the 21 days of bloodlust, with the equivalent of shooting fish in a barrel with the latest high-tech weapons that Israel was using. They went into Zaytun and they ordered the Samouni family, those that were in the area, into one of the family homes, which I've spent time in that home. We actually did something special with it later. I'll tell you about it. This family, about 97 members of the Samouni family, large family, were ordered into one home. This is during the beginning of Operation Cast Lead, back in 2008, 2009. And after they were ordered into this house, within a day, the house was hit with several rockets. It was purposely targeted. There was no way they did not know they were there. They ordered them into this house, and after having been forced into the house, they hit it with rockets. These rockets killed a total of 27 family members, but a lot of them didn't die right away. It partially destroyed the house, and you can imagine, 97 members of a family that were packed into, a space, the house maybe from that wall, to maybe about here, something like that. A room of this size was where most of them were. And what happened was 27 members eventually died. Some of them were bleeding and dying over the course of days. Some were killed right away. And the situation was more grotesque than you can imagine, because when they got hit, of course, family members immediately went outside to try and get help, medical attention. And they came out with white flags and attempted to solicit help from anybody. But the Israelis shot at them when they went outside, and they realized very quickly that that was not an option. So they had to remain inside the house. None of the Palestinian emergency services were allowed into the area for the next 4 days. So this family was trapped inside a house they were ordered into with 27 family members dead. There were children lying next to the corpses of their parents, and parents lying next to the corpses of their children. There were people that were bleeding to death over a long period of time who could have survived. There was no heating. It was in the dead of winter. No water, no food. It was horrendous. Can you imagine? Imagine that. That's bad enough that your child has just been blown to bits, but now you're stuck there for the next 4 days, crammed together, blood and guts everywhere. And this is not an accident. This is not some sort of thing that, oops, we made a mistake. This is intentional. This is the type of thing that the Palestinians are facing. In fact, Operation Cast Lead was a bit of a warm-up for the operation that Israel carried out in 2014. I mean, a lot of the world, I'm sure many of you were watching that as it was occurring. And it's interesting to note that Netanyahu was not the prime minister at the time of Operation Cast Lead. It was Olmert was the head of state at that point. And after 21 days, and keep in mind that this was also the one where they were using white phosphorus. I mean, it's all on video. They're using white phosphorus in crowded civilian areas. I've met some of the people affected by white phosphorus. One family in particular had lost a baby. The baby was literally turned into a black brick. It was just a charred black brick. Some of the family members that survived had really grotesque wounds because white phosphorus, it doesn't extinguish from water. In fact, water is fuel for it. You need to cut out the oxygen supply in order to be able to put it out. So anything that you try and put on it other than a fire extinguisher that actually can pull out the oxygen from the air will do nothing to it. In fact, the white phosphorus will burn right straight through the flesh and through the bone, and does. And you can see some of these grotesque wounds if you Google white phosphorus Gaza, you'll see a whole bunch of shit there. The stories that these people tell, the Samouni family and the other families in Gaza tell is an amazing one. But what's really interesting about Netanyahu, the current head of state, is that when he was not in the position of prime minister and Edward Olmert had stopped that bloodlust after 21 days, Netanyahu was on record as saying that he would, if he were the prime minister, he would, quote, finish the job. Finish the job. Which is a not so subtle way of saying kill all the motherfuckers. Because they're all a bunch of terrorists anyway. And that is the kind of language which is used routinely. Absolutely routinely. And in fact, in the latest slaughter in 2014, there were high-level politicians in Israel calling for the absolute destruction of Gaza, to nuke the place and literally wipe them all out. This is not some sort of exaggerated claim. It's all there. It's all verifiable. And this is what the Palestinians have been dealing with. And, Netanyahu was as unpopular as a prime minister could possibly be after the 2014 operation. You know why he was so unpopular after they committed that slaughter in 2014? He was so extremely unpopular because he did not, quote, finish the fucking job. People wanted him to finish the fucking job. This is not a joke. And if you live in a place like Gaza, I'm telling you, every single person in Gaza suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder to one degree or another. Every one of them. And the children of Gaza who've been through these bombings, who know that the sound of an airplane, you listen to, I think about this a lot when I'm back home in the UK or in Western countries. When you hear a helicopter go by, you don't really think much of it. It's not a threat. But when Palestinians hear a helicopter going by, especially children who've had loved ones blown to bits by helicopters that fire rockets, I can tell you what, it's fucking terrifying. And children are wetting their beds at night out of fear of what may be coming. They're traumatized to such a degree that if you had to deal with that as a parent, who you also having been traumatized yourself, you can imagine. I mean, the extent to which this entire population has been victimized is really impossible to measure. And if you have the very beautiful opportunity to actually meet the Palestinians in their land and get to know them, you will find these people are amongst the most generous and hospitable people you ever will meet. You cannot help but be humbled by the Palestinians. They are truly amazing, and they're part of what gives me a lot of optimism about our future as humankind, because despite all of the madness and all of the tragedy and all of the violence and war and torture and death and injustice, these people are more than capable of moving on if they have an opportunity to live a dignified life. Some of them will never forget and they will never forgive. I've asked that question and many will not. If you had been through what they've been through, I think you could understand how many of us would probably not be able to forgive. Some things are unforgivable. And when you look at the kind of enemy that the Palestinians are facing, and you understand facts like rabbis literally looking up the troops, the Israeli troops, before they go in, literally telling the troops that God commands them to show no mercy at all, to wipe out every last one, to kill with impunity, to kill with no mercy. This is the kind of thing, this is the kind of mentality that has infected so many, not everyone of course, but so many, the vast majority in Israel. And at the core of this is, for me, it's very obvious, and I believe if we take a look at it, is a Jewish supremacist ideology, which basically means not only the Palestinians, but the rest of us are a bunch of fucking cattle. And a lot of people, I'm talking a lot of people inside of Israel have this mentality. And if they're honest, they will tell you that their guiding doctrines are written in the Talmud. And in the Talmud, you have some of the most obscene stuff. If it was in the Quran, you'd all know about it. Oh, I can assure you. If there was stuff like that in the Quran, you would all be aware of that. But if I speak about things that are in the Talmud, then, of course, I'm an anti-Semite, I'm a Nazi, and all this kind of stuff. The fact that we're not allowed to discuss this, yet we can, spout all kinds of bullshit lies about Muslims and Christians and every other group, quite frankly, tells you a lot about the state of our world and what's really going on and who's really in charge. On a physical level, the amount of power within this tiny percentage of the human population, the Jewish population, is simply stunning. Stunning. Less than 2% of the human population, and it pervades all of the high top levels of the corporate world, the banking sector, the mass media. They own Hollywood, they're in the Supreme Court, they run the courts largely in many regards, and it is absolutely controlled from the top down with a financial system which allows those at the top a budget of infinity. They literally have an infinite supply of money. And this is what the Palestinians have been facing, an enemy that has no mercy towards its enemy, and really considers not only the rest of the world, the Goy, as they refer to us, if they're being honest, but the Palestinians are less than dogs. They don't count. And the way that they're treated is a pure indication of that. And this is what they've been facing for many decades. And I would argue that the reason why they've been facing this for this many decades is because we've not even been allowed to speak honestly about what they're facing. You can't even use certain words. And in many countries, if you even criticize Israel in any kind of accurate, intelligent, articulate way, or challenge the Holocaust narrative and the World War II narrative, you will go to prison. Imagine if they made laws that said, you're not allowed to discuss 9/11, and you can go to prison if you challenge the official version. Imagine that. Imagine that. And when you take a look at World War II, I defy anybody who takes a serious look at World War II to support what we've been told about this war. Every fucking historical event that we've been told about is bullshit. Come on, who writes that shit? The victors write history, and their history is bullshit. You can read one book about American history and learn one hell of a lot, or you can go to university for years and just come out with a bunch of indoctrination bullshit in your mind. Howard Zinn's A People's History of the United States is how history books should be written, from the people's point of view, genuinely from the people's point of view, not from the fucking bastards who won the war, who manipulated us into war. That's just silly. Why would we believe any of the official histories on any subject? I mean, seriously, let's look at all of them. It's just total bullshit. I mean, really, let's get into it. Vietnam, the origins of Vietnam, all based on a lie, the Gulf of Tonkin. I mean, we can go on and on and on. World War II is no exception. And it is the Holocaust myth, the myth of what happened in terms of the Jewish population and the concentration camps, and what Hitler did. And one of the best sources to actually challenge some of the most taboo areas in this regard is an amazing video done by a young Jewish man named David Cole. How many of you have seen